What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for an NBA 2-month market update video. Might break this into two parts. We'll see how this goes, how long this runs. But today we are going to start with who has dropped the most in the first 2 months of the NBA season. We are basically almost to the day, just a little over 60 days into the NBA season. So, like we did at the end of January, I wanted to run this back and just kind of take a look at the last 60 days on the old price movement by card chart here in Market Movers and see who's fallen and risen the most during the NBA season. So, right since the season started, who has come down the most, who has gone up the most. This video, we're going to talk about going down the most. If it makes good on time, we'll talk about going up too. But that just might end up being a separate video. We shall see. YouTube stuff down below. Like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. Let's get into it. So I'm not going to be like big surprisey list here. We're just going to kind of work down this from top to bottom. And I'll just point out some interesting ones. So the number one guy on the list, knocking off Bull Bull. Previously, when we did this list, I believe Bull Bull was number one. So the legend is back. Or he's no longer. He's lost his claim to the throne of the number one card that has gone down the most. But this time it is Jarrett Culver, down 71%. And I'm going to tell you right now, the list is way longer than the up by a mile. So Culver down 71%. I mean, not surprising at all. I would not expect him to be number one because I kind of forgot that he existed. $75 down to $20. There's just some brutal ones on here. I mean, PSA 10, $22. Whew. Yikes. Right behind him, Devontae Graham, $125 down to $37 for also a 70% fall. He's been buried behind Scary Terry and LaMelo. So he is way down. I know a lot of people liked him before the season started. I did not see it. He was old by his draft class standards. I just was not big. I've never been big on Devontae. The next one there is Trae Young's second year Prism. I forgot to mention this earlier. I did all Prism and all PSA 10 and all base just to keep things as simple and as boring as humanly possible, basically. So, mileage may vary in some of the other sets, but like it or not, Prism is still the top dog. So Trae Young, second year, not terribly surprising given how much his first year's down, though it's not down this much. $45 for his second year Prism. I don't like necessarily going out and buying second year cards, but if I was going to, that feels cheap to me. At $45 for a second year Prism. If Trae Young pops off again, those will shoot back up. Maybe a low dollar flip. I don't know. It's risky. It's for sure risky, but that seems cheap, especially with PSA prices going up. Like on anything with a pulse, I feel like there just needs to be a certain price floor. Next up on the list, Brandon Clark, down 60%. He's been very disappointing this season. I expected him to play much better based off what I saw in the bubble. Darius Bazley down 60%. I loved Bazley in the preseason. He's down to $80 off of his PSA 10 being $200. He's shown flashes. I still kind of like him. I don't know that I'd be running out to buy him for $80. He's probably more of an off-season pet project, but yeah, Bazley way down. Kyle Kuzma way down. Lonzo Ball way down. He's been pretty disappointing. Kobe White down 57%. Commenters always come and get me whenever I talk trash about Kobe White, so I'll try to refrain from doing that. But his prices was $220 to start the season, is down to under $100 now. If you're big on Kobe White, that's probably not a bad buy. Another one that the commenters like to come get me about. Calm down, guys. RJ Barrett, PSA 10 Prism base, $280 down to $120. Down 57%. I told you some of these are just, the red is deep. PJ Washington down a ton. Sekou down a ton. I mentioned this in an earlier video. Sekou for $40 I don't know. That one just kind of intrigues me a little bit. I don't know that I want to tie the money up into him. Once again, that feels like an off-season pet project of buying him on the low. If these price trends continue on some of these guys, I do like some of these guys to bounce back. Sekou would be one. I'm just intrigued due to his age. And at that entry level point, that's pretty cheap. But I don't know. That's super speculative. Don't run out and buy a bunch of Sekou PSA 10s. Because that's not something I would want to have money tied up in. DeAndre Ayton down 56%, $202 down to 90 right now. That is not panned out like everyone thought it was going to in the preseason when CP3 came there. Maybe there's some value there in him getting a postseason bump. I don't know. That seems pretty cheap, $90 for his base prism, but I mean, I guess that seems right based off the numbers that he's putting up. He's been pretty disappointing. It's basically been Booker and Paul there so far. This is another one I really like as I'm going to throw this on my radar and I'll circle back to this one in a few months and hope that he doesn't have a big playoff. Cam Johnson for $50 for his PSA 10 Prism. Once again, another guy I really like of the younger guys. I don't necessarily want to tie my money up with him now, but in the off season, early in the off season, like right after the playoffs ends or right after the Suns get eliminated, assuming he doesn't like pop off with a random big game or something, I really like Cam Johnson's upside. The team's just so deep; they don't have a lot of playing time for a lot of these guys. Porter Jr. down to 150 for base Prism PSA 10. Another one. I would love to buy this at this price come May, June, right after the Nuggets get eliminated, assuming this stays low. I don't know that it will. I could see a lot of this stuff bouncing back, but I still think Porter's really good. He's had a completely screwed up season, missing twice due to COVID shenanigans. Malone still kind of jerks him around a little bit. He can't play defense, at least not much, but the dude can score. And at some point in time, either he's going to really fill out a rotation spot there or he's going to get traded as trade bait for like a Bradley Beal or someone like that. Of all the guys we've talked about, the two that intrigue me the most are Porter Jr. stuff and Cam Johnson stuff. I could easily see them, buying the dip on them and then they getting a nice run up. Michael Porter Jr. is going to get hyped to hell in the summer. Like that's going to, regardless of what happens the rest of the year in the off season, if he gets traded or something, or even if he's still there, he's going to get hyped up again. The hobby loves him. Kevin Knox sucks down to $30. Bull. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend. Bull down 50%. No longer the market leader. Cam Reddish been terrible this year. Lonnie Walker, meh. Andrew Wiggins is actually probably the best he's ever played, but he's down 46%. Rui, once again, the Wizards have been a mess. Plus, they had weird COVID nonsense where he missed a bunch of time. Bags way down. I just sold my Bagley Silver Prism a couple months ago. I'm kind of glad I moved that. I actually sold. This was I've been watching a lot of Sasha T stuff lately. That dude is freaking fantastic on YouTube. Just absolutely amazing content. I would recommend everyone checking out his stuff. I didn't just found his YouTube channel a few weeks ago for some reason. I don't know how I never knew that existed. And I've just been devouring older stuff. And he just talks about basically flipping the young guys for the goats. And this was before I was watching his show, but I sold my Bagley Silver Prism right after Christmas for like 300, 350. And I used the money from that to buy 2 LeBron chalk tosses. And the Silver Prism has gone way down on the Bagley and the chalk tosses have like tripled in value. I bought them for 200. They're like $600 cards now. PSA 9s, top space of 08. So yeah, sell the young guys, buy the established stuff. I recently did the same thing with a non-sports card. I sold some young sports card rookie stuff, some Zion, some other stuff, and bought the New Mutants 98 CGC 9.8. So I'm really beginning to adopt that mindset with what him and the other guys on his show really talk about. So Tyler Hero, another one. YouTube people love Tyler Hero. Is what it is. Maybe he pops off again in the playoffs. He's down 42%. This is another one of guys that I really like on this list, right up there with Michael Porter Jr. That's SGA. Down 42% to 190. Please keep falling. I know that team's a mess. They have no playoff hopes. This is one you don't need to buy right now. Just keep watching it. It'll keep going down unless money just pours back into modern. But SGA looks legit. I know he had a bad playoffs last year, but he looks absolutely legit. Oh, my boy, Ja Morant, down 42% from the start of the season. 763 down to 440. Ouch. As someone that has a ton of Ja, that one hurts a little bit. And he just missed out on the All-Star game. He is not going to be an All-Star, but I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs. We'll see. Man, if Ja gets into the playoffs and they're playing like the Lakers in round one, they're going to get boat raced. But if he starts throwing down big games against LeBron, I would have really liked to seen the what if on Ja's season if he did not get that ankle injury early on. You know, he was having his prices were trending up. He had the monster 40-point game like the second night of the season or whatever that was. And then his prices went absolutely ballistic. And within a couple days later, he has the nasty ankle sprain and he's out for like 3 weeks. He comes back from that 3 or 4 weeks. Comes back from that, is back for like a game, and then the Grizzlies get shut down for like 10 days because of COVID. So I would really like to see the what if on the Morant season of I don't hurt my ankle in that game and I just keep going. I think his prices look a lot different today. They've just been kind of snake bit to a degree. So that's a quick look at the 25 guys going down the most this year or who've lost the most value now 60 days into the season. So as we were kind of talking through that list, there are a few guys that pop out to me that I feel like are too, I don't want to say they're too cheap. Like we'll use let's circle back to SGA really quick. So the big ones to me, just to recap, SGA is on my radar from that list. Michael Porter Jr. is on my radar from that list. And Cam Johnson are on my radar from that list. Ja Morant's always on my radar, so I'm not going to count that one. But those three. Cam Johnson to me is a good spec play, but I don't know that you need none of these guys. I don't think you have to run out and buy right now. Maybe MPJ. Maybe. Cam Johnson's getting like 15 to 20 minutes a night, but I really like him as a long-term prospect. So if you're telling me I could get into his PSA 10 Prism for $50 when as of right now, you're looking at least 30 some dollars to grade and starting next week, who knows what that price point's going to be. At some point in time, there's like an interesting floor that kind of builds itself in there. Now that's not going to be across the board. There's going to be plenty of guys that sell for less than what it costs to get a PSA card graded at, but Cam Johnson has a pulse. So I'm at least intrigued by a $50 price point on his PSA 10. But I don't know how much lower that card goes, and I don't know what's going to cause it to spike back up. They'd have to have a rash of injuries for him to get a bunch of playing time to see the court or have some big, like, playoff moment or something. But I don't think we're in a rush to run out and buy that. The other two, MPJ and SGA, for nice, quick little abbreviations. MPJ, I could see having slightly more urgency on that one because he's working his way back into the starting lineup. He's been some games starting, some games not. But like we saw it in the bubble last year. He could easily go on some like 3-game bonanza of dropping 35 to 45 points a night or something crazy. And his prices shoot back up. So I like the idea of getting in on him under $200, but this is one of those classic conundrums of there's only so much money to spend on things. I just don't know that I want to tie money up into him right now. I would rather tie money up into him later in the season, like right after the Nuggets get eliminated from the playoffs, because he's one I want to try to buy around then and then hold because I know his stuff's going to go up in the NBA offseason. Like it's just going to happen. The only way he would get a major spike right now outside of a major hot streak is if he gets traded. If he gets traded to the Wizards for Bradley Beal, the most logical of all the trade scenarios, and it's basically his team and he's getting all the shots. One, his prices will spike on the news. And then two, if, he's scoring tons of points per night in a Wizards uniform or something like that, his prices are going to go up from that as well. But I don't know that happens. That may be an off-season thing. So I'm going to keep an eye on MPJ. I personally don't think I'm going to pull a trigger on him yet, but he is definitely my eyeballs. I'm doing the, I'm the captain now thing. Um, I'm going to keep an eye on him. My ideal buy point would be is hopefully his prices stay kind of flat, and then buy right after the NBA playoffs. SGA is the other one. Young dude, tons of upside. Has played fantastic on a crappy Thunder team, and that Thunder team's actually kind of feisty. He's another one, though. I don't know that I necessarily want to buy him now because I don't see anything that spikes his prices between now and the end of the season. The only thing would be, once again, he goes on a huge tear, or just a ton of money flows back into Modern, and like a bunch of guys go up and SGA doesn't. Eventually, what happens is someone goes, well, wait, if this dude's this much, SGA should be this much. And then SGA's prices spike. But he's another one that I would very much wouldn't mind buying into come May, June, early July, right before NBA free agency starts or something, and the news cycle starts kicking up again. So, anyone on that list intrigue you from a buy perspective? Is there anyone there that you're like, oh man, way too cheap? I'm going to guess a lot of people are going to say Tyler Hero, Kobe White, and RJ Barrett just based off previous videos, but we will see. So I ran a little long on this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this into two parts. We'll do this one today, and then I will do the top 25 that have gone up. And I actually don't know that the list is 25 long of people in the green. So I'll record that one and put that up maybe the day after. We'll get this one out first thing in the morning for you guys, and then we'll do the opposite side of the list in its own video, just so this one's not 30 minutes long. But that's all I got for you guys today. Once again, let me know, who are you chasing on this list? We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.